Mel. Everybody, I'm Jackie Chan. Hey, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. This is kind of the one that I have been showing on X for a very long time. This is how I feel about SoFi being less than $8, and I felt this way for quite some time. I felt this way for on and off for the last few months, especially over the last month or so. Another way that I feel about SoFi being less than $8, this is also how I feel about SoFi when it's less than $8. I'm trying to take advantage of it as much as I can. Why did I get Jackie Chan involved? I don't know. I just think it's funny. I think his face is very animated. I think his face happens to show me a lot of the emotions I want to show. So this is kind of how I feel about SoFi being less than $8. Guess what? After hours today, before we closed, SoFi was $7.87. Right now is over $8. Is $8.08. It's no longer less than $8. What does it mean? Well, you closed on Friday, right before earnings, on Monday before the bell, and then after hours, there are people that are coming and buying the stock. I wonder, is this going to be a bunch of degenerates that are just trying to buy before the earnings and try to play earnings? Why didn't they do it during the day? Why do they have to wait till the market closes? I don't know. But currently, it's 8:06 now. It dropped a little bit. Don't know. But anyway, it's over $8. So I can no longer post these kinds of awesome memes anymore. If you look at the chart of SoFi, and I spent about half an hour to an hour looked at it before I filmed the video. Um, it's just kind of chop, like a lot of chops feel here for a very long time, right? How do I smooth all of this out? How do I find a trend, right? One way to find a trend is you can actually change the candle into these Fibonacci candle. Fibonacci candle summarizes the current period, plus it averages up from also the period before that. So you're going to see a lot smoother candle. It's going to be able to tell you a little bit more clear in terms of what the trend is. And right now it looks like there might be a little bit of a trend change over here, which is a positive thing, right? I mean, because the trend has been going down, right now it looks like it's going to change the trend here a little bit on increasing volume. This is a promising look. And if you just eyeball it, I don't think anybody's going to dispute if I start drawing some range here. But let's say if I draw a line over here, I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. Right here, it looks like that's a pretty important range over here. Initially served as resistance. Now it had this big volume breakout, and now it's back tested twice, three times if you count this one over here, but really big time twice. Back testing over this area over here. So we're finding support, right? Potentially having a trend change because it's at the bottom of this range, right? Whereas the top of the range, I don't think anybody would really argue with me if I say that there's a top of the range right around $10, right? From the point when it was IPOE, from the point when it was a spec around $10, I don't think anybody really argue against me on that. So right now it's just been range bound. People sold in the top of the range and bought at the bottom of the range, and they just repeat, rinse, and repeat, right? So a lot of traders, if they're good at what they're doing, have been making a lot of money from it. But investors, especially institutions, they've been setting the floor on SoFi price, and the floor tends to be around $7.50. And you know why I would say that? What are these levels here signified? If you just do the Fibonacci level, I'm just going to do it roughly. I'm not going to do an exact Fibonacci level, but from its all-time high to its all-time low, you're basically going to end up seeing this very, very nice kind of line over here that tells you a very, very clear story, if you will, right? It's just been range bound between two Fibonacci levels. It's been range bound between the 0.136 and the 0.236. 0.136 is about $7.50. 0.336 is about $10. It's just been range bound here for really closer to a year now. A lot of people got really hyped on SoFi from this move all the way up. Everybody thought that hey, it's just going to go straight up to the sky. Nah, it didn't turn out to be that way. And ended up testing our patience for really close to a year now. A lot of people have already been pretty upset, and they're giving up on the stock. They already move on to other things and buy newer and shinier objects. The truth is this: it's range bound, and it is bound to break out of the range either above or below. It cannot be range bound forever. That's not how stocks work, right? So the question is, which direction is it going to go? Now that it's at the bottom of the range, I bet the immediate direction is probably going to have pushing up. The question is more, have we built up enough energy over here to really push us above and break above this range and get to the next target, which is going to be, you see a lot of history over here, support. You see the next Fibonacci level. You know how I always talk about $14 being the next potential target. I'm just going to round up 13.5 as 14. I think it's probably going to end up waking about, but this is probably going to be, serving as some pretty important resistance levels over here if we get up there, right? Another way to look at this, instead of looking at this in a horizontal range bound way, is there another way to look at it in a diagonal way? Do you have like a smarter way to look at this? This looks a little bit, not a very how do you say that? Not a very good way to look at it. Is there another way that you can look at it better? And I can argue that there is. I can argue that you can draw these kinds of pitchforks and try to see what the price has been trying to do for quite some time. And this is kind of how I see it. I see SoFi being in a little bit of like a diagonal range, if you will, if I draw a pitchfork. And a lot of times you're just trying to draw a pitchfork where it touches the most points, right? And I think this touches enough points. You can see some rejection here. You can see support over here. You can see, rejection up top. You can see support over here. You can see rejection over here. And you start seeing some back tests over here and failed and went down here to this diagonal level. It looks like it's been trying to find support over here. And so far, it looks like it might be kind of trying to break it back above, right? So if you look at the pitchfork, this also looked, relatively favorable for SoFi. I think it's just basically been trying to go range bound from horizontal to horizontal and from diagonal to diagonal. And right now it's at the bottom of this range over here too. So there's a potential for it to break up and hit some of the higher levels above if this increasing volume over here for potential trend change here is going to work out. And that's one way to look at it, looking at ranges, looking at Fibonacci level, look at the pitchfork. I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. What's another way to look at it? Another way to look at it is going to be with moving averages. One good way to look at it is through these weekly moving averages. I'm just going to pull up 20, 50, and 100. 20 is yellow, 50 is blue, and 100 is black. Right? And you can see that it has a full bull trend. Looks like we might be at risk for losing it, but we haven't yet, because the 20 is still about 50, is still about 100. So we still haven't really lost this, we haven't really had this like bearish 20-50 cross per se. We'll see what happens Monday. Sometimes it doesn't take that much for 20 to start expanding from 50 and start having a very, very nice bull trend again. Although price has just gone sideways for way too long, way too far, way too long. And now the 20-week moving average is like, meh, I need to figure out direction. But right now I don't really have a direction. 50 has just been pointing up, just because overall the trend over the last 50 weeks has been going up, right? So maybe a little bit at risk for a little bit of a loss of this temporary bull trend over here. But overall, it's still a bull trend. And again, earnings is coming Monday. Who knows how price is going to go, right? Yeah, then another thing that tells me most likely is going to end up pushing up higher is because, again, the buying volume over the last couple of weeks has been going up. So this makes me wonder whether or not price is going to end up pushing back above. And 50 is going to be a very, very poor resistance because it just came on trending up. So it's probably going to push through 50 like it's nothing if it gets up there. 20 is a little bit flat. It's also probably not going to serve as very good resistance either if it ends up pushing up, right? So far as kind of what volume tells is it might potentially end up doing. So, but that's also just speculation. Of course, it can drop back down. Depends on earnings. Earnings is never predictable. But there are a few things I've seen. Again, bottom of range, horizontal, vertical, increasing volume, bull trend. These are facts. Ichimoku cloud. You put up the weekly Ichimoku cloud. It kind of, I'm going to get rid of this Hibonacci candles here. You can see basically just been oscillating above and below the Ichimoku cloud. Like it's trying to find direction here for closer to about half a year now. It still haven't really found a direction right now. It's at the bottom of the range. But this week candle is green. This week candle has really very little wick to it. This week's candle actually has a lot of, very bullish commitment over here on pretty decent green volume over here. This also is classified as like a bullish kicker kind of thing. Technically, you might get it favors bullish continuation. I'll just say that. It's right underneath the Ichimoku cloud. It's on high volume. The Ichimoku cloud is green above, and it's very, very thin above, which tells you that if it ends up breaking through this resistance, probably not going to serve as very strong resistance at all. This is probably going to be like one of those cases that it might just end up breaking through if it does. Again, earnings Monday, dangerous to talk now. I don't care. I'm just going to talk anyway. That's kind of what I'm seeing. It's got a little bit of a, double bottom kind of looking to it, a little W bottom over here looking to it, which again kind of favors it to end up having, some bullish continuation from this candle moving up forward. It's a potentially a bullish pattern over here, and the resistance above both in terms of the moving average, in terms of the Ichimoku cloud, are just not very strong right now. So if earnings go well, I think that you have a pretty good chance for things to kind of break above and get pretty bullish. Now, I generally don't do a lot of daily charts, but for SoFi, I'm going to make a little bit of exception because I did see a few things here on the daily that got me, kind of interested. One is for Friday before earnings, you have, relatively increase in volume. What gives? Do the whales know something? Is that why they're kind of buying in? Is that also why after hours is now positive for some additional, above $8 kind of thing? Possible, right? What does this look like to you? This actually look like first of all, this looks like a little bit of like a double bottom here, doesn't it? And the double bottom over here looks like it might be ending on potentially increasing in volume. And this favors breaking out above the double bottom over here, rather than it just being range bound and this is just the top of the range and dropping back down because of this increase in volume over here that I'm seeing. This over here technically can classify that if it gaps up on Monday, technically this looks like something that I would call an island reversal pattern, where price gap down and then bears try to push it down further, but just not able to do that. And they've been doing that for a very, very long time, and they're just not able to break down below this range, even though they gap down. So what happens after that? A bunch of bullish energy has been built up throughout the entire time here. There might be a little bit of reaccumulation here at the bottom of the range. It's building up a lot of energy, probably going to push up back above if earnings go well, gap up and finish this island looking thing here. That is called an island reversal. That's one possibility. I also think that, again, it's not going to be to anybody's surprise. I think that the move is going to be quite impulsive, whichever way it goes. Right now, I favor going up because of volume, because of everything else that I've been showing you on the weekly. Nothing is ever guaranteed, right? But I favor it going up after earnings. Another thing to look at that in terms of that is you also look at the Bollinger Band. You can see that it's just been squeezing over here for like 3 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks now. Whenever it squeezes, generally it suggests that a big move is coming. It cannot just go sideways for like forever. At some point, you're going to end up have to kind of break above or below. Right now, price is above on the upper part of the Bollinger Band. The 20-day moving average is kind of curling up a little bit here. The volume is kind of increasing. So it's kind of favoring a little bit more of a bullish continuation and a strong breakout here after earnings. Although, nothing's ever for certain. This is SoFi is a very volatile stock. But a big move looks like it's coming. And so far, the direction that I favor by looking at everything that I'm seeing right here is up. If you look at the monthly, I'm going to zoom out here, look at the monthly. I'm going to give you a little bit more clear picture in terms of what it's been doing for the month of April. For the month of April, just like the month of March, it back tested the rising 20-month moving average over here. And that's basically what it's doing. It's just basically just kind of back testing over here, form a little bit, maybe a little bit like a tweezer bottom over here, kind of like it did over here when it back tested the 20-month moving average. If it points up, generally this serves as a pretty decent support. It wicked down here below for a period of time during the month of April. But sure enough, because it's pointing up, it eventually serves support, and this may just all end up being just a wick down here. Especially earnings is decent, and you might end up pushing a lot higher from there. There are some other findings too that could be suggestive of bullishness here. You did have a bullish cross here for the Tenkan kind of get above the Kijun. Kijun is red, Tenkan is blue. Whenever the leading line here gets above the lagging line, which is the Kijun, Tenkan gets above the Kijun, you have a bullish cross. Generally, that tells you that price has gone bullish enough that you're starting to have a bull trend. The problem is price is now below both the Kijun and the Tenkan, and it might serve as a little bit of a short-term resistance here. But that's okay. I mean, even if you look at a 3-month, it actually tells you a very interesting story here. With the 3-month, again, the Tenkan is blue. For bull market, you want to see Tenkan being flipped from resistance to support. And this price has been waiting for a very long time for the 3 month Tenkan to kind of go to where price is at right now. Right now is actually at a little bit of the Tenkan resistance, getting a little bit of initial rejection here. The quarter is still young, right? I mean, April's not even over yet. This candle is going to close by the end of June. But it's very interesting. It looks like it's just trying to challenge the Tenkan above right now on the 3 month chart. And on the 1 month chart, again, I'm not really that concerned one way or another. It just looks like you have something that's bullish going on. You also have something that might be a little bit less bullish that are going on. Bullish cross, but price is below both of these lines over here, which could potentially serve as resistance, especially when they're pointing down, right? So even if earnings goes well, we might not push immediately into about through this whole resistance area. We might end up maybe even wick above and then end up in a closing below that. But who knows? Right now, it does look a little bit like a tweezer bottom. Right now, it does look like there's going to be some kind of bullish continuation that's going to happen. But who knows? I don't want to play earnings. I'm not there. If things don't work out, I'm okay. I'm holding shares. I'm going to add more because I'm seeing a bunch of pretty interesting things both in terms of fundamentals as well as technicals. So I'm showing you a lot of things here. What do I expect SoFi to do? Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? You talked to me for about like 16 and a half minutes. What's the moral of the story here? And the moral of the story here is, of course, I'm going to favor it going up. There are a lot of things I already show you in terms of why I think I favor it to go up. One more piece of thing I want to keep in mind is SoFi. I coined this term a long time ago. SoFi is one of those rare stocks. You hear the expression where, like bulls take the stairs and bears take the elevator down, or bulls take the stairs up and bears take the elevator down. This is the opposite case for SoFi. For SoFi, the bears really take stairs down, and the bulls take the elevator up, and the bears keep taking stairs down like they're gonna hurt their knees, and the bulls just takes the elevator up. Bears take the stairs down, bulls take the elevator up. Bears take the stairs down. And the stairs are getting smaller and smaller, and the stairs are getting, less and less powerful. That's generally when I expect the bulls could potentially take an elevator up. Again, no guarantee, but this week's volume candles certainly seem to suggest that that could be the case. One other thing I want to show you on balance volume, there has been some bullish divergence that's been building up for quite some time. When price just kind of gone down here a little bit. But if you actually look at the unbalanced volume, it's just been like straight up, right? This over here is basically what we call, a little bit of like a bullish divergence over here. It means that there's actually a lot of positive momentum that could be building up, right? So that's one thing I do want to mention. I'm seeing a little bit of bullish divergence here on the on balance volume between price. Another thing I also want to show you is a momentum indicator. Now this is a pretty important thing, I think. Sometimes traders look at RSI trend lines. You see that there's a pretty clear trend line over here. Really, that's been going on really since like December 2023, right? This over here looks like it could hit resistance, but I think it might end up breaking. You know why? Because this week's candle is on a reasonably high volume, which means that there's a potential for it to just break the RSI and just keeps going higher. In right now the RSI is like 50. Like, if it breaks about 16, 70, price can end up pushing a lot higher. The bulls can now take an elevator up again, is what I'm suspecting that may happen. Never want to be too absolute about things, right? Do you want more bullish confirmation in terms of why I think things are bullish? I'll show you another thing why I think things are bullish. You want to look at the anchored volume weighted average price indicator. I'm going to click on that. This tells you in terms of whether or not the average holder is either underwater or in profit. If you click on any particular point in the past, let's say if I click down here at the absolute bottom, this line tells you if price is above, most people are in profit. price is below, most people are at a loss. And it can serve as a very important resistance and a very important support. So far this week, what did it end up doing? It ended up flipping perhaps this VWAP right here from resistance to potentially support on high volume. It's pretty nice, isn't it? I think it's pretty decent bullish development. What other things do I want to show you? Do I want to just scream out, oh, one more thing? I'm like, this is just a symmetric wedge right now. Like, this is directionless. So if you want to draw lines, if you're into that kind of thing, you're not into like these fancy indicators I just show you. It's just a symmetric wedge. It's not going anywhere. It's waiting for a move. We have earnings. Probably not going to break above if I have to guess, but who knows, right? What are the whales doing though? What are the whales telling you? People who have more knowledge about the fundamentals, people have more knowledge about any potential insider information. I'm not gonna say that, they know more than I do. They probably do. How did I know that? I don't want to speculate. But what are the whales doing over the last half a year when price just went sideways? They've been accumulating. How have they been accumulating? Is the accumulation linear? No. The accumulation is exponential. And for the month of April, when price had done a hell heck of nothing, sure looks like the institutions are buying behind the scene done it. This generally seems to be favorable for price because, again, I want to emphasize the point here because traders cause volatility, but institutions and whales set the floor price. And where do I think the floor price is? I think the floor price is around 7.5, somewhere around there. If you do the Fibonacci level from the all-time high to the all-time low, the floor price is probably around 7.5. Anyway, it's been an exciting time talking about SoFi. I probably show you about like 30 or 40 different things in terms of why I think SoFi is bullish. And I might have to say goodbye to this meme as well as this meme here soon. I'm going to miss them. Anyway, happy Friday. Have a good one. Bye.